I'm sorry, I guess we're here.
Don't even feel it. And Brad Pitt.
You left us in the hands of me. No offense.
No, I'm with you. DreamWorks Megamind. November 5th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films that kick off November of 2010, on November 5th to be exact. And as I said before, Halloween is over, which means it's now time for the big holiday movie season rush to begin. And just like the last couple of years, DreamWorks starts it off with a brand new animated feature with our first film, Megamind. And it's the second animated movie this year focusing on a supervillain having to become a good guy. The one that was much more successful was Despicable Me, but that doesn't mean that Megamind was a flop per se. In fact, I would honestly say that it's a much better movie than Despicable Me was. That's just my opinion, but let's look at the plot. Megamind is voiced by Will Ferrell, as it says in the commercial there. He's been in this long battle with Metro Man, voiced by Brad Pitt, who's basically the equivalent of Superman, ever since their plans have been destroyed. Superman, there you go. When Megamind finally looks like he's killed Metro Man, he takes over the city, but realizes that without a hero to fight, his life has no purpose. So he decides to create a hero using a guy named Hal, voiced by Jonah Hill, who also has a crush on reporter Roxanne Ritchie, voiced by Tina Fey, to turn him into a superhero, but later becomes a supervillain, and it's up to Megamind to save the day. And yeah, it's a movie that is definitely very similar to Despicable Me, but it's better than Despicable Me. Now, I don't think that movie is bad, but this movie, I think, had a much better idea of how to entertain his audience more. It has a great, interesting idea of a supervillain who thinks he's killed his arch enemy, and now that he's gone, what's your next move? And then he can't figure it out, so he just basically decides, I have to go and create a new villain. And yeah, it's a movie that is very clever and very funny at times. It's not perfect all the way through, but it definitely has a lot more to it than something like a Despicable Me did. The voice casting overall is top-notch. The story is very well done. The visuals are really good to look at, and the 3D overall is really good. It's not the best overall by DreamWorks, but I mean, you've got a year where you've had Shrek Forever After and How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, it's been a pretty solid year for DreamWorks all across the board. There are a couple things that do bother me about the movie, and I think most people can really agree with that. The whole thing about dancing at the end of the film with the main characters, I mean, it's not like it's a bad thing per se, but like it's one of those things where, I mean, we already saw, but we're seeing way too many movies where the characters are just dancing because we can't figure out how to properly end the movie after the big conflict. I mean, granted, yeah, you've got Michael Jackson's Bad playing in the background of this one here, and it makes sense because Bad, it's a movie about a supervillain, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, really, like, I'm so glad we're kind of getting away from this trope overall. I think we have gotten away from it in the 15 years since then, but you still get a couple movies here and there that feel like they got to throw it in there just for fuck's sake. But in a year where DreamWorks had a lot of really good movies, this is more Shrek Forever After than How to Train Your Dragon, and that's not a bad thing because How to Train Your Dragon is a high bar to top, but Shrek Forever After was pretty good. So to be in that same area, that's not a bad thing whatsoever. I mean, most of their movies overall have ranged from good to great, and this is definitely one of those good ones. This is a film that is definitely worth watching and definitely deserves a lot more respect and attention than the god-awful sequels that came out last year did. And I'm talking about the movie that was made for Peacock that was billed officially as the sequel and the television series, which was just as bad. But hey, Despicable Me and Megamind did eventually cross over. Or at least that would have made Despicable Me 4 great last year because Will Ferrell played the bad guy in that movie. Like, come on, Universal. You own DreamWorks. You could make that happen. Why didn't you just make the villain in Despicable Me 4 Megamind? That would have been so awesome. I still can't get over that. But anyway, but Megamind's a great movie overall. Let's get to a massive, massive, massive failure on so many levels, despite the fact that it had so many good people behind it. Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis starring in Todd Phillips' follow-up to The Hangover, which is Due Date.
And now, a special look at Due Date in theaters November 5th.
There you are, looking just the same as you did last time I touched you.
You know, rest areas have the nicest showers. The nicest showers.
If I miss the birth of my child, I'm going to choke you out with your own scarf.
Seems a bit drastic.
Hold on, Sonny. It's about to get rough.
Peter, you okay?
Look like we made it. Left each other all the way around.
What's that sound? What sound? Sonny, no.
What the like we made it.
Have I told you that I love you, Carmen?
Look who's come around.
And all I can take is love.
Hey, water perk.
Don't panic! Don't panic!
I told you I was gonna get you home safe. I'm gonna kiss you.
Stop, Peter. I'm driving.
Well, you know what? I have coverage.
Due date.
My name is Ethan Tremblay. I'm your husband's best friend. Now, let's get that baby out of your door.
Rated R. Starts November 5th.
Do not let that great trailer fool you. I know it's playing Barry Manilow's Looks Like We Made It in the background, and it plays so well with the antics of the movie. But when you see people like Sean Edwards of Fox TV praising this, that's your sign to abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Because anytime that guy's name is on one of those critic reels, you know the movie is going to be terrible. Sometimes he gets it right once in a while, but it is very few and far between. And Due Date, yeah, it's definitely one of those movies. One of those movies that is just like, yeah, no, this isn't for you. Stop me if you've heard what the plot of this, if you've heard this plot before. In Due Date, two guys, played by Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis, take a cross-country trip in order for Peter to see the birth of his child and for Ethan to head to Hollywood to make it big. Throughout the trip, they go through some crazy hijinks. You know, a movie similar to this could be something of like, oh, I don't know, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I mean, literally, it's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, except for the Hangover audience, with more gross-out jokes and more stupid comedy and all the stuff that was supposedly taken out of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that rightfully was needed to be taken out. And that's what this movie is. Just a bad rip-off remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This is a film directed by Todd Phillips, who has made a lot of good movies and very rarely has missed the mark. I think School for Scoundrels at this point was his biggest misfire to date at that point. But no, I can easily say this is so far the worst thing he's directed so far. We haven't even gotten to the second half of his tenure of movies here, because there's some bad ones there too, but yeah, this is pretty bad. I mean, Zach Galifianakis, who I liked in The Hangover and didn't mind him in G-Force, he's a straight-up asshole in this movie, and trying to be way too hard like Del Griffin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yeah, he's trying to be like you, John Candy, with my pop figures back there. That's been there for a while now. That's not a coincidence that was just there for the sake of me talking about this particular film, but I'm sorry. In Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Candy could be an asshole at times, but he was still a likable character, and you felt sympathetic for him for his situation, the fact that he had been away from his home for nearly 10 years and on the road and just looking for somebody to be a friend with. You don't feel for Zach Galifianakis at all. He's pretty much predicting the future of his character in the Hangover movies, just being the obnoxious asshole, and kind of like what I said last month with It's Kind of a Funny Story. That was a great movie that showed what he can do as an actor, as a comedic actor, but no, people wanted to be the stupid, obnoxious jackass, and yeah, this thing is, yeah, in here, he's terrible. Everybody else in here is doing their parts very well. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is Robert Downey Jr., and Michelle Monaghan, hey, a reunion of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, another one of my favorite movies of all time. But a lot of the jokes just fall flat, and sometimes they are just really stupid and really pointless. Like, there's a scene where they go to the Mexican border, and for no particular reason, I got 3 good chuckles out of the movie. The biggest laugh being the scene where Jamie Foxx and Downey Jr. are driving through the drainage ditches, and Galifianakis goes jumping in the air, because you want to see that happen to this son of a bitch. And on top of that, they steal jokes from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Meet the Parents, Along Came Polly. You see the scene in the trailer where Robert Downey Jr. is sitting down at the airport, and there's a guy with his stomach out, like with hair and all that, like this right here. And I'm sorry for you folks out there that don't like to see skin, but hey, it could be a whole lot worse. I'm just telling you. I could be going further than that, but this is a family show. As I've been swearing a lot here, but we don't do that type of stuff here. I'm like a Chadwick Boseman in Avengers Infinity War. We don't do that here. But Anyway, back to Due Date. I don't know why I'm going off like that, but you gotta try my patience when you're stealing jokes from Along Came Polly and that unfunny one here. They even take parts from the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles script that were cut out for a reason. Like, there's a whole subplot about maybe Michelle Monaghan's fucking Jamie Foxx. See, I just swore again, but that's a plot element that was taken out of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where Steve Martin's wife thought he was cheating on her with Dell, and they took it out because they realized it was a completely pointless scene, pointless subplot to the storyline here. This movie decided, no, we're gonna put that in there. We think that's funny, and no, it's not. It's a scene that goes absolutely nowhere. It's completely pointless, and you just wasted your time doing that. I was really going into this with a lot of high expectations. I wanted this to be good. I liked everybody involved in it. But man, this thing, when you have the balls to try to do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and do it this badly, I have no choice but to give you the equivalent of the middle finger here, which I don't know if I can do that on this channel, but yeah. Imagine there's a finger going up on one of these areas, and of course it's I almost did it. Of course it's this one right here, but you know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly what I'm thinking of here, but yeah, that's what I have to say about Due Date. What a terrible movie. And they're still trying to remake Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. They tried to do it with Will Smith and Kevin Hart, and then that thankfully didn't go anywhere, but they're still trying to make it work, make a remake happen. Don't remake the classics. Remake the bad movies. Take the advice of Steve Martin. Have a point. It makes things so much more interesting for the listener, and for the viewer as well. I'm telling you to avoid Due Date like the plague, plain and simple. So let's go ahead and get back to, I don't want to say good movies here, but films that were at least trying to do something unique and different. Tyler Perry trying to go for that Oscar money, and that is for the movie For Color Girls.
Love me?
Man, I've loved you since we were 14 years old.
Ordinary, brown-braided woman with big legs and full lips. You become yourself.
Being colored is a metaphysical dilemma I haven't conquered yet.
Janet Jackson.
Say you're sorry. I got started greeting at the front door. You can keep yours.
Whoopi Goldberg.
You're my angel.
Tandy Newton. Loretta Devine. Anika Noni Rose. Kimberly Elise. Kerry Washington. And Felicia Rashad.
Being alive and being a woman, that's all I know.
For Colored Girls.
For colored girls, you make the rockin' world go round. I apologize for that. When I see that title, I for some reason thought of Black Bottom Girls from Queen of all people. But no, this is definitely not that type of a movie. This is based off of a poem called For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. And you see, this is an ensemble movie consisting of 10 women of color, 7 of whom are based on the play's 7 characters only known by color, the Lady in Red, Lady in Brown, Lady in Yellow, and explores their lives and struggles as women of color. Like its source material, characters deal with conflicts such as love, abandonment, rape, infidelity, abortion. This is Tyler Perry's first R-rated movie, too, so this is a rare thing for him at this point. And you see the cast that's in here, a stacked cast of really good, talented black female actresses. Janet Jackson, Whoopi Goldberg, Felicia Rashad, Tandy Newton, Loretta Devine, Anika Noni Rose, Tessa Thompson, Kimberly Elise, Kerry Washington, Macy Gray. It's definitely a movie where Tyler Perry really is trying to go for that Oscar, and he almost makes it work. But it's a typical, but it unfortunately falls into Tyler Perry territory. And when I say that, I mean it's a movie where a lot of the things he talks about in these movies in general, it's in this movie, and sadly, it's way too melodramatic for its own good. I mean, the commercial literally says, "Get ready for the most emotionally challenged movie of the year." I don't think I've ever seen a trailer promoting itself as the most emotionally challenged movie of the year. And it's probably not a good sign for the film going forward. And like I said, it's not that it's a bad movie. It's just a film that just feels like it's falling into typical Tyler Perry drama territory, where they're trying way too hard to get an emotional input out of you. It feels manipulative at many points. It's a movie where the effort is there, the heart is in the right place. You can tell that he's trying, but he just can't get away from the stuff that made him work with his other movies from the past 5 years. And it feels like this is a film that is trying so hard to be so unique and different, and yet it can't take that last big leap to take it to the next level and be a film that he wants it to be, an Oscar contender, an awards contender. It's just not there with this movie, unfortunately. And everybody in here is trying their best. There's a good cast in here, and they're working very well. But unfortunately, it's everything that Tyler Perry movies are, unfortunately, come into play here, and it just ruins the ebb and flow of the film. And I mean, like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it isn't the film that he wanted it to be. And it's a film where, if he had made more movies like this and actually gotten better as the time went on, with more movies that were kind of outside of his norm, I think he could have had a chance for a couple of Oscars. But unfortunately, this isn't the case with this film. And sadly, For Color Girls ends up being something that has a lot of ambition and a lot of promise, a lot of heart in the right place, but just execution was just the missing link here. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Naomi Watts and Sean Penn starring in Doug Liman's Fair Game.
Your name, Mr. Baker. Is your CIA agent?
When the White House exposed her identity and put her life in danger,
My name is everywhere. My real name.
she and her husband took on the most powerful men in the world.
We gotta strike back. They'll bury us if we don't.
Fair Game depicts the intensity and suspense of the Bourne identity. Naomi Watts and Sean Penn are superb.
They're not gonna get us without one hell of a fight.
Fair Game opens November 5th.
It's hard to believe that we now have 2 movies released in November, the first week of November nonetheless, that have the title Fair Game, and coming out 15 years apart, because before this we had the 1995 movie, the William Baldwin, Cindy Crawford masterpiece, if you will, Fair Game, which, funny enough, as I'm looking at the IMDb page, guess what one of the recommendations are? Look at that! Fair Game. Which probably means that this has nothing to do with the actual movie itself, just because it literally has the same title as the movie we're about. Yeah. Good old IMDb at work once again. But Naomi Watts stars in the movie as Valerie Flame, and her status as a CIA agent was revealed by White House officials allegedly out to discredit her husband, played by Sean Penn, after he wrote a 2003 New York Times op-ed piece saying that the Bush administration had manipulated intelligence about weapons of mass destruction to justify the invasion of Iraq. So yeah, it's a film that is one of these politically charged movies. We were getting a lot of these, especially in the second half of the 2000s. In 2007 in particular, we had a ton of these movies, and not a lot of them were any good, but some of them were good. Some of them we did get some good ones. The Kingdom was a pretty good one overall, but then you get stuff like Rendition and Lions for Lambs, and stuff like Stop Loss. But this is another one of those movies that is trying to be like this fact-based biopic and top political thriller, which it's fine for what it is, but it is more interesting to see Doug Liman do something a little bit outside of his norm. This is the same guy that directed The Bourne Identity and Swingers and Mr. and Mrs. Smith and had done Jumper before this. And seeing him taking on a drama that's completely outside of his norm is intriguing overall, and it does make for a film that's passable at best. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too amazing. The performances overall are fine in here, but there's really not a whole lot there to give this extra oomph that it needs to be something really spectacular, but I don't know. That's my personal take on that one, so that's Fair Game for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that's Danny Boyle's follow-up to Slumdog Millionaire, James Franco starring in 127 Hours.
Lost? I'm a guard? What do you say?
Well, the guidebook says the route's through here, but I know a better way.
All you have to remember is that everything will be okay.
You like him? I don't think he figured in his day at all.
You always gotta love it how he had no. They make it seem like he had no idea that there was actually a thing of water underneath that rock when he's with Kate Mara and Amber Tamblyn. But he can't figure out that maybe you shouldn't be going down this canyon right here, but is to get and then get trapped by a boulder. You know, hey, typical white people. But this is 127 hours. This is Danny Boyle's follow-up, of course, to his Oscar-winning Slumdog Millionaire, and it follows the true story of canyoneer Aaron Ralston, played by Franco, who must find a way to escape after he gets trapped behind by a boulder in an isolated slot canyon in Blue John Canyon, southeast Utah, in April of 2003. This is based off of Ralston's memoir himself, written by Simon Beaufoy, who co-wrote the script for Slumdog Millionaire, and he even has the same composer and the same producers as that film does. So they brought a lot of the same people back from this one in terms of the director, the writer, the producers, the people behind the scenes in general, and it makes for a very intriguing movie that kind of came out around the same time as Buried, which Buried literally got buried and pushed off to the side because as soon as this movie came out, it was all about the mood was all in on this movie here, and I like Buried a lot, but I do have to admit 127 Hours is a much better movie, and it's a much better movie because of James Franco giving it his all. I'm making fun of the guy for the stuff he does in this movie, and yeah, he's really damn good in this film. He deserved an Oscar nomination for this. He probably should have won too, but sadly, another movie that came out that we're going to get into in a couple weeks from time, or maybe next week. I don't know. It could be next week's. It could be on next week's scheduled movies, but he's great in the movie. He's really, and he does get a chance to show everybody that he's not just the funny guy from the Judd Apatow comedies, or Tobey Maguire's best friend from Spider-Man, like that type of thing. And yeah, he's not just that. He can be a really damn good actor, and he does give it his all in here, and he really does play it very well to a T. Then again, it probably also didn't help that he hosted the Oscars that March, and yeah. Say what you will about Anne Hathaway being bad, but James Franco was the worst one, and it felt like Anne Hathaway was being weighed down by him too, even though that he took much of the blame for it and brought her down with her. But yeah, this movie in particular though is really good. It's a really engaging, chilling film, and it's not a long movie at all. It's only an hour and a half long, and that was really the biggest surprise by it, is the fact that it just went by so quickly. It's just like, really? That's it? That's all that's all you're doing? And yeah, and it leads into a really good climactic film where you don't know how this guy's going to get out, and you watch it and you're just like, how are you going to get out of this situation here? And the way they play it out is done very well. It's a very good, it's very intriguing film that does keep you on the edge of your seat all across, and James Franco really does sell it. Kate Mara is really good. Amber Tamblyn, Clemens Posey playing his lover, Lizzie Kaplan playing his sister. I mean, there's a lot of good people in here, a lot of really good stuff in here, and it sadly kind of gets overlooked after Slumdog Millionaire. It didn't do gangbuster business overall, but it was a box office hit. It did well with critics, and it did go on to be nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Franco and Best Picture. And like I said, it's another one of those movies that should have probably won Best Picture, except besides the one that actually won. But all a good time. So overall, yeah, 127 Hours definitely is worth the watch. I highly recommend it. Can't recommend it enough.
Mo Coulson, we're working together today. Train 1206.
Problem? I just don't like working in a damn daycare center.
I don't like working at a retirement home.
All right.
This ain't training. In training, they just give you an F. Out here, you get killed. Married?
Sort of. It's a long story. How about you? You married?
Got 2 beautiful daughters.
What do we do when we get to a railroad crossing? We have an unmanned train rolling into a highly populated area with no air brakes.
Yeah.
006, what's up? There's an unmanned train on the northbound track. It's under power?
It's coming straight at us.
What are we worried about in terms of cargo?
8 freight cars of hazardous chemicals. We're not just talking about a train. We're talking about a missile the size of the Chrysler building.
I need to know where that train is. We're not exactly sure. We're not sure? We'll find out. It gets worse. I've got 150 students coming in on some field trip on track 16. Train that size going that fast. Vaporize anything in front of it. We have been told to anticipate an event radius 20 to 45 miles. The only way to stop that kind of power, grab it by the tail, gun in the opposite direction. Are you in or you out?
You want to kill yourself for doing it alone,
All right, do what you want.
Wait! I'm not risking this company just because some engineer wants to play hero.
Not for you. Not doing it for you.
This is Will Paulson, the conductor. We're gonna run this bitch down.
Tell your sister I love you both.
The train is increasing in speed. We're gonna be coming in too hot. Just lost our brakes! Hey!
Close your eyes if you want.
You got a real natural smiling conscience, you know?
My God, that trailer was a mess. I mean, it was nothing but dialogue and story being brought out to you, and it was so bad that SNL did a pretty spot-on parody of it not too long before the movie came out. And it's like that the whole skit. They're literally just doing and it's literally like you're watching the trailer again, because the trailer was literally just that. Denzel Washington says something, and then Chris Pine has a quippy comeback, and then it's the other way around, like it's verbal quips, and then, you know, you have Rosario Dawson running around screaming, we're talking about a missile the size of the Chrysler building. That's literally everything that we just saw in those 2 videos there. By the way, welcome to Time About the Movies. We're taking a look at the 3 films of November 12, 2010. I haven't even given you a proper introduction yet, but this is Unstoppable, based on the real-life CSX 8888 incident, telling the story of a runaway freight train and the 2 men, played by Denzel Washington and Chris Pine, who attempt to stop it. And, as you saw in the trailer, all this crazy shit happens. I mean, the 2 are bickering at each other, and then there's a runaway train that goes on, and then there's another train featuring a bunch of elementary school students, and they have to stop both of these trains, or else you're going to have a missile the size of the Chrysler building. I mean, that is literally the plot of this entire movie. It's pretty all over the place, and definitely not the best thing for Tony Scott's career to end on, per se. Because, like I said before, this was the last thing he did before he passed away in 2012. And, yeah, this movie's not that great in general. I mean, it does have a couple of decent action moments here and there. And Denzel Washington can usually do no wrong. Chris Pine, I think, is okay in here. And, you know, I made fun of Rosario Dawson, but she's passable in here, too. But it's just, everything else in here is just, there's just way too much going on in terms of the plot, in terms of the visuals, in terms of what they're trying to accomplish here. It feels like they're literally throwing everything at the wall and saying, anything sticking? No, just keep trying, because they keep throwing stuff at you throughout the course of this movie. They make it much more complicated than this thing needs to be. And the end result is a film that is just all over the place, just way too chaotic, way too ridiculous for its own good. But then again, you wouldn't be asking for too much from Mark Bomback, who wrote Total Recall, the remake of Total Recall, by the way. So yeah, that should probably tell you something right there. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just a film that just feels like it's all over the place, has no real connection of where it wants to go, and it just feels like there was no real clear indication of what they were trying to accomplish here, except just have Denzel Washington and Chris Pine working off each other. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much that, but that's just my personal take on it, per se. I didn't like this one a lot. Unstoppable, yeah, you could stop this one for sure. But hey, it's certainly a lot better than our next movie, which is, hey, District 9 was a success. Universal is out there saying, we can do that, but with an even bigger budget, and our biggest star will be Turk from Scrubs. I'm not even kidding.
Is that what I think it is? Every city in the world is experiencing the same intelligence. Those things are coming for us.
There's not going to be many of us left.
Somebody's fighting back. Everybody get down! We have to survive.
Skyline, rated PG-13 in theaters November 12th.
Yeah, that's right. Turk from Scrubs is the biggest star in this movie. And look, I have nothing against Donald Faison, but I'm sorry. If that's the biggest name in your movie ain't that special, man. But then again, how can you go wrong with the same directors that gave us the classic that was Alien vs. Predator Requiem? This shit was doomed to fail from the get-go. I mean, yeah, it's basically District 9, except in LA. We have a group of Los Angeles residents who witness an alien invasion while in a condominium. And you have other people, character actors like Eric Balfour, Scotty Thompson, Brittany Daniel, Crystal Reed, David Zayas. Yeah, this movie sucks. This movie is abysmally bad. This is a film that is just so ridiculously stupid, ridiculously pathetic, and you can just tell it was trying so hard to rip off District 9. And not just that, they ripped off, these two idiots ripped off a film that was in the works, because Sony actually sued them. Because they are the owners of this visual effects company called Hydraulics Films, and they had paid them to do visual effects work for their upcoming film Battle Los Angeles, but Hydraulics never informed Sony that the siblings were directing a rival alien invasion film, similarly driven by special effects, scheduled to be released 4 months before Sony's feature was out. In March, they eventually released a statement dismissing the arbitration because they realized that, there's nothing worth fighting with this piece of garbage to the Skyline, because we have our own piece of garbage coming out that's come in Battle Los Angeles, which is also a terrible movie, by the way. Again, just ripping off District 9. That's the biggest problem with these movies. They're ripping off District 9 so badly, and the visual effects in here are abysmal. The movie itself, without the visual effects, cost $500,000. And the budget is $10 to $20 million with the visual effects. Does it really cost that much money for visual effects? These guys were embezzling money. They had to have been. There's no way that they put all that money into this, because it's not showing on the big screen. And it would help if there were some good characters. It would help to be some good storylines, but sadly that's not there in this movie either. This thing is an abysmal mess of a movie, a pathetic attempt to copy District 9, but apparently was successful enough to launch a franchise of films that these guys directed, because who cares about actually evolving our craft and all that? Let's keep making the same piece of garbage, because the Sci-Fi Channel is always looking for bad movies to air in between Resident Alien and WWE. I don't know. Like, that's basically my reaction to this whole thing. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but Skyline sucks. Skyline is a terrible, terrible fucking movie. So let's go ahead and turn the tide with the best movie overall of the weekend, but that's really not saying a whole lot with this one. Morning Glory.
Jackie Fuller, you start on Monday.
In every life, there is that first big break. Yes. That first top job.
You two should banter back and forth.
Banter from the Latin word meaning to gibber like a moron.
Enjoy the pain, get to the pain.
That first true love.
You're different.
Yes.
Get ready for the first feel-good comedy of the fall.
You know him? No. Yeah, well, yes. I mean, yes.
Morning Glory. Rated PG-13. In theaters November 12th.
So yeah, this movie is actually more well known for this right here. On a side note, take a look at where this trailer peaks at, by the way.
I see touch. Wasn't that bad?
Yeah. And, how do I put this? Hey Al, you want to help me out on this one?
Great ass!
Hey, man said it best. But this is Morning Glory, the film that tells the story of an upstart television producer played by Rachel McAdams, who accepts the challenge of reviving a morning show program with warring co-hosts played by Harrison Ford and Diane Keaton. Rachel McAdams falls in love with with a guy played by Patrick Wilson, and Jeff Goldblum is also in the movie playing the man that hires her. And this is produced by J.J. Abrams, one of his few romantic comedies he produced under Bad Robot. And this is directed by Roger Michell, who did Notting Hill 11 years prior to this. So there is talent across the board here with this film. There is a lot of good people involved here. And the pieces are definitely there, but you could just see that it's just a modern-day version of a film like A Working Girl meets broadcast news. I mean, the best comparison, honestly, is broadcast news, because there is a lot of similarities to that movie and this film here. But there is a little bit of Working Girl in there, not just because Harrison Ford is in here, too, but the movie, I'm saying it like it's a bad movie, per se. It's not. It's just kind of a bland film in general. There's not really anything that makes it stand out or anything that unique or amazing about it, except the fact that everybody is given their best material here. Everybody here is playing their parts very well. You know, they're given the material that they had, and they're doing the best they can do with it. But other than that, though, there really isn't a whole lot else about the film that we haven't already seen done with it. When the best thing about this movie that people still talk about is how big Rachel McAdams' ass is. That should probably give you a warning sign that that you might have a problem with your movie here. But, hey, people who love Rachel McAdams, nether regions, there you go. There's a reason, there's a reason to check the movie out right there. But then again, we have the internet too, so you don't even need to worry about that. But yeah, overall, the film itself is just kind of meh. For one-time watch, I guess it's fine, but you're never going to want to watch this again after the first time around, unfortunately, so. Not much more to say about that one, but that's Morning Glory.
The epic finale begins. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is spectacular.
Who's after you, Mr. Potter?
It's the experience you've been waiting for.
You really don't stand a chance.
Awesome.
You think I don't know how this feels? You don't know how it feels.
This is the most action-packed and thrilling Potter movie yet. Rated PG-13 in theaters and IMAX Friday.
Hey, what do you know? A broken clock is right every once in a while. Sean Edwards actually got a review that everyone liked, and not just a bad movie like Due Date. But welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. And today we are taking a look at the two films released on November 19th, 2010. And of course, the biggest of the two new releases is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. The beginning of the conclusion of the Harry Potter series. The first part of a series that has a book that has a lot of stuff inside of it, so it made sense to split these movies into two parts in particular. And as we see here, it once again stars Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson as Harry, Hermione, and Ron and Hermione, and follows Harry Potter, who has been asked by Dumbledore to find and destroy Lord Voldemort's secret to immortality, the Horcruxes. Now, here's the thing with this particular two-part film. This is a film that, while it's still a really good movie, it is the one that is often usually one of the more, I wouldn't say hated ones, but more of the mixed opinion ones, because of the fact that, like with most two-part movies in particular, not really a whole lot happens in here. All the good stuff is saved for the second movie. And, we've seen so many examples of this. Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 is a perfect example. The Hunger Games, Mockingjay is a good example. But the big difference between those two movies and what Harry Potter did, Harry Potter, the thing with the first movie is, yes, there is a lot of dialogue in this movie. There isn't a whole lot of action overall. But like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of stuff in this book that was so crammed and so filled that they had no choice but to split it up into two movies. You can make the argument that they split it up into two because, holy crap, we can make so much money off of this. Which, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, they did it because there was so much stuff to work with here. And so, yeah, the first half is going to be kind of not the greatest of all, but it's still a good precursor to what eventually will become in the following summer with Part 2. And for that, I really enjoy this movie a lot. I don't think it's one of the better Harry Potter movies, but it's still a really good film overall. There's still a lot of great stuff in it. You do still like this chemistry between the three in general, and you do like the build-up to this event that's going to happen down the road. Do I wish there was some more stuff in there? Of course I do, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like what they gave us was not a great film at all. I mean, this is still a really solid film all across the board. And yeah, it does deliver what it promises. It's a penultimate beginning to the eventual end of the series coming up in the summer of 2011. And yeah, it has the same team who made the last movie, Half-Blood Prince, which was a good movie and very well done, and also Order of the Phoenix. And David Yates pretty much has taken control of this series ever since is all the way to the Fantastic Beasts series. But yeah, overall, yeah, not much more to say about this one except that it's a good movie. It's not one of the better Harry Potter movies, but it's a good precursor to what will eventually come in the summer, which I think is probably the best one of the entire series. The last one in the series, Deathly Hallows Part 2, but we still have a couple months before we get to that one. So, good movie, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Definitely worth a watch. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie and our last film here. Russell Crowe, Elizabeth Banks, and Liam Neeson starring in Paul Haggis' The Next 3 Days.
Listen, I don't think I can last 20 years.
What if you had the next 3 days?
I promise you, this will not be your life.
To save everything you live for.
Show me where the bullets go.
3 days to plan.
The prison on the world is airtight.
3 days to break out.
The hardest part is staying free.
3 days to freedom.
Do not do this. We have no other choice.
Russell Crowe. The Next 3 Days. Rated PG-13 in theaters November 19th.
And yeah, I probably should have did my research before this. This was not Paul Haggis' follow-up to Crash. He actually did In the Valley of Ella before that in 2007. I should have known that because I think I covered that movie. But anyway, I think Craig Ferguson, when he had Russell Crowe on the show, pretty much summed up the best way to describe this movie in general.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's a movie. No gay vampires, no! No, it's a movie with movie stars doing stuff and drawing mats and things on things. And Todd's getting ready and the music going dun 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 dun. It's like a movie, like a proper movie where you go, yeah!
Yeah, it's a movie with movie stuff and maps and people and music going dun 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 dun. I mean, that's literally what this movie is in general, and a good concept. And you know, I'm a sucker for any movie that's set in downtown Pittsburgh. I mean, like I said, I live about 30 minutes away from there, but even then, this is one of those movies where it's just like, it's a good premise, but just not the best execution. You have a story where Russell Crowe plays a husband who takes extreme measures to break his wife out of prison after she is wrongfully convicted for the murder of her boss, and he gets help from, of all people, Liam Neeson. You also have Brian Dennehy and Olivia Wilde among the cast in here, and it's a movie where it isn't a bad movie per se, but it's just not as good as I think the premise really could make it out to be. The premise overall, I think, is very interesting and very well done. It's kind of like the opposite of The Fugitive, where instead of the guy being accused of a murder he didn't commit, now it's the guy's wife, where she's the one who's convinced of a murder she didn't she's convicted of a murder she didn't commit. And I think there's a good idea here and a good premise overall for what could make this work in general, but sadly, the movie just kind of goes down the formulaic territory, and this is based off of a French film, too. I've never seen the French film for this, but I feel like they changed a lot of things around here to try to make this more mainstream instead of just letting the film play out as it should. I mean, the acting overall is good. I mean, Russell Crowe and Liam Neeson are always going to turn in a good performance, and it's cool to see Elizabeth Banks in something that's not specifically a comedy in general. This was back when she was mostly known for her comedic roles, and we didn't even know that she was really a damn good dramatic actress, and she does pull it off here very well here. The performances are fine. It's the script that's a mess here. I mean, this is a movie that has one of the most... It takes a really good premise and turns it into one of the stupidest, lamest, predictable plots you can possibly imagine, and it just gets more complicated, and it's just kind of like, this should not come from the same guy who not only made an Oscar-winning Best Picture in Crash, but also wrote scripts for stuff like $1 Million Baby. I mean, Paul Haggis is not a hack person to make stuff like this. Like, this is writing on the same level as something like you would see out of the guy who wrote 88 Minutes. That's how bad the writing is here. And this is the fact that comes from Paul Haggis, who has several Oscars with him. It's just like, what are you doing, man? Like, this... They take a great concept and a good cast and do absolutely nothing new with it whatsoever. It is about as bland and as complicated and as implausible as you could possibly imagine. And that's where the movie really falls apart. I mean, this is a movie where it almost had a chance to work, but... The script definitely needed another rewrite or two. I mean, this thing needed to be, you had to make it something unique and different, and not just a bland script in general where it just goes down into a lazy, complicated storyline that gets even more ridiculous as it goes along. It makes no sense how they handle this. it really frustrated me when I finally got to see this, because I was so looking forward to it because of the people that were involved in it, and it just didn't work in general, and it really made me mad at coming out of it. Just like, man, this thing could have been something really good, and it just completely fell apart at the seams too quickly, and yeah, it's a disappointment on a number of different levels. For Paul Haggis, for Russell Crowe, for Elizabeth Banks, for Liam Neeson, for the plot in general. It just could have been something amazing, but they took the safe, marketable route, and it failed miserably on every single level. So yeah, you can avoid the next 3 days for pretty much the foreseeable future at this point.
Alright, listen, I didn't want to have to do this, but you leave me no choice. Here comes the smolder.
You coming, Blondie? Let down your...
Yeah, that trailer, as nice as the animation looks, the way that that's edited together with the "I'm Trouble Now" song, and it just looks like a movie that just seems like it's dead on arrival. But trust me when I tell you, the trailer is the one thing that will make you hate the movie. When you see the movie, you realize, oh wait, this is actually much better than this trailer is letting on. But welcome to Time About the Movies, and as I said, we're taking a look at the 6 films released on Thanksgiving weekend 2010, and of course the biggest new release of the weekend is Tangled, Disney's 50th animated feature film, and it was marketed as the 50th animated feature film. In fact, when you see the opening of the movie, it opens with the Walt Disney Animation Studios highlighting it as the 50th animated feature film. So, of course, this is based off the story of Rapunzel from the Brothers Grimm, and it features the voices of Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi. It tells the story of a thief, Flynn Rider, who stumbles across a castle in the middle of the forest while trying to hide from the kingdom's men, and finds an 18-year-old girl named Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore, who had been locked in the tower ever since she was a baby. She's convinced Flynn to take her out to find out where these lights that always appear on her birthday come from. And of course, she figures out that she actually was stolen from a mother. The mother in here, I have to look. Mother Gothel. I knew it had to start with a G, but she's voiced by Donna Murphy, and she's been growing up thinking that she's her mother, when in actuality she's the one that actually stole her from a real family, this royal family. And that throughout the adventure, they come across these two. Mandy Moore's Rapunzel character, toy boat. Rapunzel basically forces Flynn to take her to the village there to see where these lights are coming from, and then she figures out that she's actually been part of a royal family her whole life. And this is where Disney's kind of starting to have that turnaround here. I mean, they've always made great movies. A couple of exceptions have been stuff we've talked about in the past, bad stuff like Home on the Range, Chicken Little, even stuff like Meet the Robinsons and Brother Bear weren't that great. But since John Lasseter, when he took over the studio, they got better and better as they went along. Bolt was great, Princess and the Frog was great. This one, I think, is the lesser of the first 3 films that he's done, but that's not saying that the movie is bad or anything in any way, shape, or form. It's that after what I really like about Bolt and the Princess and the Frog a lot, I really was expecting them to take this to the next level. This should have been their, if you want to, it's like, when this was coming out, I kept thinking to myself, this was supposed to be kind of their Beauty and the Beast moment, like how Bolt was the Oliver and Company of their third Renaissance, if you want to call it that. Princess and the Frog, kind of the Little Mermaid. Winnie the Pooh would probably be their Rescuers Down Under, and I thought this was going to be kind of their Beauty and the Beast, but I mean, it's not that the movie is bad or anything. It's just that I kind of expected a lot more from it after what I saw with Bolt and the Princess and the Frog. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie by any means necessary. I mean, the voice casting overall is great. Zachary Levi and Mandy Moore have a lot of good chemistry together. You know, this is back when Zachary Levi was actually still sane and not working for the Trump administration, pretty much. And Mandy Moore fits that role of Rapunzel very well here. And Donna Murphy's pretty fun as the villain. You get Ron Perlman also in here as well, Brad Garrett. There's a couple of other notable roles in here, but the voice casting overall is great. The visuals are really impressive, too. And that's actually kind of interesting about this movie, is that this is a movie that has a high budget of $260 million, but you really would look at this and go, like, nothing about this movie really seems like it should be that, but then you realize this uses kind of a unique artistic style, which blends together features of CGI and also traditional animation while using non-photorealistic rendering to create the impression of a painting. And they would kind of elevate this to the next level with a couple of their movies going forward, like Wreck-It Ralph, and especially with Frozen, which ended up being much bigger successes. Not to say that this one wasn't a big success overall, but when your film costs $260 million to make, and you're Disney, you expect to make a lot more than less than $600 million. But hey, the film did eventually find its following overall, so I guess there is that in general. The comic relief in here is very good. They have, I kind of like Pascal over Maximus the Horse. Maximus the Horse does have some really good moments in here. The songs are very well done. I mean, it's Alan Menken songs. How can you go wrong with that? I mean, if there's anything I could say I didn't like about the film, it's nothing we haven't seen before in a Disney film. It's kind of a routine story. It's been done to death before many times, but at the same time, nothing about it really hurts the movie in general. But in a year we have had so many good animated movies. Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, Legend of the Guardians. Those are the ones that I think of when I think of the highlight of the year in terms of animated movies. But this one definitely feels like the lesser of those movies. But like I said, it's not a bad movie by any means necessary. It's a movie where it works because the acting is so good, the voice actors are top-notch, the characters are likable, the elements and the visuals are really cool, and it has gone on to have a nice little legacy following this. They had a great short that appeared in front of the re-release of Beauty and the Beast in 2012, Tangled Ever After, and then they had a really good TV series that aired on Disney Channel, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, which was surprisingly really good. Like, the animation on that show, for as small as the budget they had, they made it work overall. But then again, when you have somebody like James Baxter as one of the animators on that, of course it's going to be great. This movie, I like it a lot, but it's definitely lesser than stuff like Bolt or The Princess and the Frog, or even their next movie, which came out in the summer, which one of the things I will never understand is why the hell would you release your next movie on the same day as Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2? That's a decision that still baffles me to this day, and it will still baffle me once we get to that movie in July of 2011, but Tangled is a good movie, not a great movie overall. I think there are much better Disney movies than this, but it's a nice predecessor to what Disney would eventually do in the decade to come, so take that for what you will. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next big new release of the weekend, which is Cher and Christina Aguilera in Burlesque.
Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go!
Check it out, girls.
I finished the song.
Can I hear it?
You can sing it.
Beautiful.
You never told me you could sing like that.
Alley Cat, you're up next.
My nana used to call me Alley Cat.
Did you really? That's so fascinating. Rated PG-13.
And that right there is probably why this movie didn't do very well. PG-13 burlesque movie is not something I don't think anybody would expect to see in a movie like this. I mean, granted, yeah, Moulin Rouge was PG-13, so was 9, so was Chicago, but yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why this film wasn't the big hit that Sony was hoping for. But does it make it a bad movie? No, but it's definitely lesser than what it could have been. But the story of Burlesque revolves around Allie, played by Christina Aguilera, an Iowa-born girl who leaves her job as a waitress to hit Los Angeles to make it on her own, eventually ending up in a burlesque lounge where she gets a job as a cocktail waitress from Cher, who plays the character of Tess, the club's proprietor. The burlesque's outrageous costumes and bold cinematography enraptures the young ingenuine who vows to perform there one day. Soon enough, Allie builds a friendship with the featured dancer, played by Julianne Hough from Dancing with the Stars, finds an enemy in a troubled, jealous performer named Nikki, played by Kristen Bell, and garners the attractions of a bartender and fellow musician played by Cam Giganant. With the help of a sharp-witted stage manager, played by Stanley Tucci, and genre-bending host Alexis, played by Alan Cumming, Ali makes her way from the bar to the stage. Her spectacular voice restores the burlesque lounge to its former glory, though not before a charismatic entrepreneur, played by Eric Dane from Grey's Anatomy and The Last Ship, arrives with an enticing proposal. And I think the big thing with this movie in particular was, could Christina Aguilera act? Like I said, this is her first leading feature film debut, the first time she's ever acted in anything, surprisingly. And, I mean, she is one of the best vocalists you have out there. In the 10 years that people have known her as a recording artist, she's never done an acting role, with the exception of SNL. But other than that, it's SNL. But so the question is, how's her acting in this? It's fine. It's solid overall. I think she does a pretty good job as an actress. Plus, I mean, the singing, you can't go wrong with that. But that's not the only good thing about the movie. The dance sequences are nicely choreographed. The actors do a good job with the performances they're given. The sets are visually great. There are a lot of flaws with the movie in general. There are some things I don't like. There's a lot of songs in here, as beautifully choreographed as the dance sequences are, they're pretty forgettable in general. Even the lyrics of most of these songs are nothing special, but I guess when you have a voice like Aguilera coming in here, it probably works in its favor overall. I mean, another thing I didn't like about the movie was that there are a lot of subplots in here that have no purpose in the story and never get resolved in any way, shape, or form. You can easily get rid of these and just have a simple story about this woman who wants to go ahead and become a superstar, a music star, but I don't know. That's just my thinking. Plus, there's a little bit it's a movie that is clearly made specifically for Aguilera's fan base and also a female audience, because there are definitely moments in this movie where there's a lot of stuff where if you're a guy sitting in this movie, I was there, I went to this by myself, you'd be just like, yeah, I think I'm in the wrong building here. I mean, it's not like Magic Mike, it's not like Magic Mike, but Magic Mike was a much better movie in terms of a story and characters. This is a film that's clearly made for the ladies out there and to titillate the young boys who love Christina Aguilera, and it's also a gay movie too, pretty much. I mean, gay people would love the hell out of this movie. I would think they would, but overall, Burlesque at least is not another Glitter. It's not a movie where it's a movie that feels like there's just way too much going on there, and it doesn't help. The scene stuff is ruining that film. This doesn't happen in this movie. For Christina Aguilera, she's fine, and it doesn't hold up as strong as a lot of the good musicals we had up to that point. Chicago, Moulin Rouge, 9. And I think that PG-13 rating does hurt it a little bit. The cast is good. The dance sequences are nicely done. Most of the songs are pretty forgettable. But other than that, though, it's a decent film. For a one-time watch, I would say it's worth it. But other than that, though, there's no other reason why you should be watching this more than once. I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I haven't seen this movie in 15 years, so I really don't know if it has held up well at all, but I just remember I bought it on Blu-ray thinking one day I'm going to watch it again, and I've never really had the urge to watch it again, per se, but I don't know. I mean, I probably need to rewatch it again, but that's just my memories from the first time I saw it, so. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Jake Gyllenhaal and Anne Hathaway in Love and Other Drugs.
Hey, Lisa.
Her name's not Lisa.
I know, but if every time I say, hey, Lisa, she'll think that I dated a girl who looked just like her. She'll develop this unconscious need to win my approval, and from then on, it's cake.
Damn. Why would you want to be a pharmaceutical rep?
That pays over $100,000 a year, that's why.
Hello, lady. Hello, gorgeous. Oh, wait. Yep, there's another one.
If the patient asks,
You're an intern.
hi, I'm Dr. Knight.
And who are you? Jamie Randall, intern.
Well, let's have a look.
Oh, crap! You let me take my shirt off!
Wait, okay. I apologize. Let me take you out for a cup of coffee.
Strong eye contact, implied intimacy. You're good.
So what does this mean?
Actually, this is me being nice.
You have beautiful eyes.
That's it? That's the best you got? This isn't about connection for you. This isn't even about sex for you. This is about finding an hour or two of relief from the pain of being you. And that's fine with me because all I want's the exact same thing.
And that's the point where you say less, and then you go and get to bang Anne Hathaway. I mean, that's the American dream for any guy out there. But Love and Other Drugs. This is Edward Zerwick's latest film, and it follows the story of a medicine peddler, played by Jake Gyllenhaal in 1990s Pittsburgh, who starts a relationship with a young woman suffering from Parkinson's disease, played by Anne Hathaway. As you see in the trailer, you also see Oliver Platt, Hank Azaria, Josh Gad, and Gabriel Mott from The Spirit in the cast in this. And this is a movie that kind of came and went when it did. But it was a movie where I remember really liking it a lot, and I watched it again recently. I watched this one again not too long ago, and I think it's gotten better over time. It didn't get the best reviews when it came out per se, but it was a film that had a lot of ambition to it when it came out, and I didn't really see it the first time around. I thought it was just okay. The second time around I watched it, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. It's not just an adult drama dramedy that adds the sexual aspects to it. I mean, you see Jake Gyllenhaal getting into bed with a lot of women in this movie, and Anne Hathaway's got some nice nude scenes as well, but that's fine and all, but there is an engaging storyline here going on about this guy trying to make this relationship work when he knows that he's dealing with this woman who's got this serious disease. And the film does a very good job of handling it. And again, you have the great direction of Edward Zwick and the writing of him and Marshall Herskovitz, and also Charles Randolph, who would later write The Big Short. And you have a lot of good people all across the board in this movie, making for an engaging film that has gotten better as time has gone on. It's a very interesting film, a very intriguing film. It's a film that isn't just a typical, watch this womanizer have a lot of sex with women. It's a movie where it actually does play out and work to its advantages on a number of different ways. It's a good film, really good film overall. Definitely has gotten better over time. Can't recommend enough. Definitely check it out. Maybe it might honestly be Edward Zwick's most underrated movie as a director. Love and Other Drugs. Can't recommend this one enough. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Dwayne Johnson in the action thriller Faster. Once again, why the hell are you releasing a movie like this on Thanksgiving weekend, honestly? But stop me if you've heard this plot before, because this is a bold plot here. Dwayne Johnson plays a lone man recently released from prison, seeking out the people from his past who he believes betrayed him. While he forces each to atone for their sins, he must also face what meting out vengeance will do to his immortal soul. It's Death Wish again. It's another Death Wish knockoff. It's another ripoff of Walking Tall. This is the literal definition of half-assing it all across the board. This is directed by George Tillman, who at this point had been pretty solid. He made Soul Food. He made Men of Honor. He made Notorious. But then after this point, he went from being a hit maker to more of a mismaker, with one good movie in the 15 years since this movie came out, which was The Hate You Give, which is a terrific, terrific movie that felt like he was coming back to his past. But this movie, oh my god, this movie is such a mess of a film. Like, look, Dwayne Johnson can make this work. I mean, he's perfectly serviceable as the action hero in this, but it's literally the same movie we've seen before so many times before. I think Roger Ebert kind of said it. I think Roger Ebert said it best. Rotate the plot, change the period, spruce up the dialogue, and this could have been a hard-boiled 1940s noir. But it doesn't pause for fine touches and efficiently delivers action for the audience that likes one-course meals. This is the type of movie that you watch late at night on TBS or TNT when you can't get any sleep and it's after midnight. The NBA has just finished up, All Elite Wrestling is finished, and then you see, oh, Faster's on. There ain't nothing else on, so I'll put this on while I go off to sleep. That's the type of movie this is. This is the type of movie that you would see on TBS or TNT or even USA late at night when you have nothing else to do, you can't get any sleep. You see Dwayne Johnson and it's just like, I'll give it a shot. And you come across it as, wow, that was completely boring. And hey, at least I got to sleep after that. I could not understand what the hell was going on with this movie in general. The plot is way too complex for something that should be so simple to understand, and they do literally nothing different with this than any other movie that has a similar setup to it. I guess there's one thing to say about it is that, hey, Carla Gugino teams up with Dwayne Johnson again for the third or fourth time. I think she was in Escape to Witch Mountain, and then they did San Andreas, and there was one other one I can't remember what they did, but it was either 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, this is the second time they've teamed up together. But where the cast includes them, Billy Bob Thornton, Maggie Grace, Moon Bloodgood, Adwale Ekanino Agbahi, Mike Epps, Tom Berenger, Xander Berkeley, Jennifer Carpenter. You expect so much more, and this is the typical definition. This is another one of the CBS Films movies, and you just can tell when CBS Films makes a movie, it's either a lackluster script that the studios knew was bad from the get-go, or a script for a failed television pilot. And I get the feeling this was a script for a failed TV pilot, but they figured, hey, we can get Dwayne Johnson in here and we can save the film easily. And no. No, you could not. That's pretty much what we could say. Faster. There ain't nothing fast about this movie. It's neither good, it's neither fast, neither slow. It's just bad. It's just bad all the way through. So now we've come to the review you've been waiting for. Yes, I know this one won Best Picture. I know it was the Best Picture winner at the Oscars. It swept the Oscars. But I'm sorry. I really do not like the King's Speech at all.
Faced with war, we need a leader we can all stand behind. A man challenged by fear.
The nation believes that when I speak for them. But I can't speak. I can kill you.
A king who will find his voice.
It's time.
Jeffrey Rush, Helena Bonham Carter.
Why should I waste my time listening? Because I have a voice!
The King's Speech in cinemas January 7th.
So, we need to start off with a little bit of context here. Back in 2019, when Green Book won the Oscar for Best Picture, I saw the movie for the first time afterwards, and it's not even that it's a bad movie. It's just a boring, bland, Oscar bait movie. And it could have been, this is definitely one of those movies that could have been the worst Best Picture winner of all time. But this is definitely up there with one of the films that definitely did not deserve it. I bring this up because 2010, when this won the Oscar for Best Picture, I just want to give you an idea of why this movie should not have won Best Picture. Here were the other nominees for Best Picture that year. Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are Alright, 127 Hours, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, Winter's Bone. That's 9 movies that could have easily won Best Picture, and I would have been happy with that. But no, the worst one of that group, the laziest movie of that group, won Best Picture. A year where you had Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are Alright, 127 Hours, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone. All way better movies. All movies that actually try to do something unique and different. And yet it's this movie, this fucking film, that won it. The laziest, most blandest, most predictable, most forced film of the nominees to win. Yeah, we're going to get into this here, so hold on. Let's take a drink and prepare myself. Okay, let's dive in. So in the movie, Colin Firth plays the future King George VI, who to cope with a stammer sees Lionel Lodge, played by Jeffrey Rush, an Australian speech and language therapist, who become friends as they work together, and after his brother abdicates the throne, the new king relies on Logue to help him make the first wartime radio broadcast of Britain's declaration of war on Germany in 1939. And I'm sorry, the biggest problem with this movie right away is what I said before. In a year when you had The Social Network, Toy Story 3, Black Swan, The Kids Are Alright, True Grit, 127 Hours, The Fighter, Inception, and Winter's Bone, they all lost to this movie. The problem with The King's Speech is that it does every single cliche Oscar bait thing that you do in a movie to try to win an Oscar. And this is the one that won it. It doesn't do anything new or creative with it at all. And the fact that it not only swept the Best Picture award, but it got Best Director, Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay, when there were so many better movies in that category, in those categories, just proves that the Oscars don't even bother to try sometimes. They would do this more granted, they have gotten better in the last couple of years, actually not giving good movies the big awards like Anora, Oppenheimer, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But they still gave the Best Picture to stuff like Coda, which isn't even a bad movie, but there were so many better movies released that year. West Side Story should have won Best Picture that year. The year Nomadland won. I like Nomadland. But, The Trial of Chicago 7 was also nominated. Judas and the Black Messiah was nominated. Much better movies that should have been nominated in that category. In Green Book this year, Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody. I would have rather seen Bohemian Rhapsody win Best Picture. That's how much I didn't want to see Green Book win Best Picture, because it felt like it was one of those years where nobody tried and they just gave it to the biggest crowd pleaser out there instead of actually giving it to the Best Picture. When you have a category called the Best Picture, it should define the year of the movies. It should define that it should be a great movie that doesn't do the same tropes we've seen done before. But no, not this year. Not in a year where we have so many inventive movies in there. We got to give it to this pile of garbage here. And look, I don't mind Colin Firth in this movie or anyone involved in the film, but I'm sorry, you should have won for much better movies than The King's Speech. It's like there's so many other better films that you could have done here. I mean, it's a cliched movie with. Sorry about that. It's a cliche movie with no creative elements in it at all, and it follows every single Oscar bait cliche rule that it has to do to get Oscars. Like, let me just go ahead and give you the 10 biggest ways you could tell this was a cliche-riddled Oscar film. Number 1, it's set in a specific time period, the late 1800s to the mid-1950s. Number 2, someone's playing a mentally challenged character. Number 3, the actors are acting their ass off, and not in a good way. They're just overacting their asses off, like Angelina Jolie and Changing, being like, "I want my son back," like that type of thing. 4, dramatic movie cliches like dying or injured pets or children. 5, an actor is either playing a gay character or a historical figure, which, granted, it didn't help Brokeback Mountain 5 years prior to this. 6, style over substance. It's a movie that looks great, but the substance? No, not worth it. 7, way too much sappiness. 8, an actor playing an inspirational figure. 9, trying to be way too topical. And 10, a convoluted script. I mean, The King's Speech has a lot of those cliches. And let's just be perfectly honest. We all know why this movie won the Oscar. Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, this was back when he had all the power in the world, and his company was in desperate need of a legacy, like something that actually warrants his company as worthwhile. And there's clear evidence that's true. You do the research, people. Just look back at how many movies Weinstein has had a hand in winning the top prizes. Most of them for movies that are not great to begin with. Shakespeare in Love, The English Patient. I mean, we've seen that done before. But let's be honest, he's got much bigger problems nowadays. But look, and I know I'm in the major minority of movies like this, but I'm sorry. The people that try to defend this movie are unbelievable. I've had people tell me, "Oh, well, you just don't understand the royal family, because if you did, then you need to know what the royal family is about to understand this movie." Fuck the royal family. Do you see what they do to people that aren't in their common ground? Look at what they've done to Meghan Markle whenever she got married to Prince Harry. Yeah, that's the people that I have to know about to really understand the true beauty of this movie. Fuck them. I'm sorry, just fuck them. And I know I'm in the major minority when it comes to this movie, and most people would probably say that I shouldn't feel the same way about The Hurt Locker or Crash. They don't deserve to win Best Picture either. And you might be right on that, but you know what? They were good movies. They were films that I actually did like. And yeah, so already that puts me in a deeper in the hole, but I'm sorry. I can't help it. The King's Speech is not a good movie, no matter what people say. It's a bland, boring, and just uninspiring film. It's pretentious, it's got a bad script, the story is not engaging in any way, shape, or form. The acting's fine, I guess, and I was bored watching this movie. This is a lazy film that just does not work at all. In a year where you had so many better movies that should have won this Oscar for Best Picture, and this is the one that wins it, this just continues to prove that the Oscars will never change their ways, no matter how hard you try. I mean, granted, yes, like I said, they have gotten better in the years past, and, they have, but I'm sorry, in a year where you had a number of movies that experimented with new things that we hadn't seen before, done things that were much better, winning this for Best Picture means that you are supposed to be the movie that defines the year. This is you winning Best Picture with this little thing right here means that you're defining what the year was all about. And instead of a year where we should be celebrating films like Toy Story 3 and Inception, no, the best one went to a film that was clearly bought and paid for by a guy that had all the power at the time. And yeah, it's just inexcusable. It's inexcusable that this piece of garbage has so many of these. I hate it. I hate that movie so much. I hate this film so much. I've tried going back and giving it another chance, but I'm sorry. The movie still fucking sucks. It's a terrible movie. It's a lazy film. I just wish I want that award to go to movies that actually try to do something unique and different. Do something that hasn't been done before. When you are the Best Picture winner of the year, the Best Picture should not be a movie we've seen done to death before so many times. It should be a movie that takes chances. It should be a movie that tries. It should be a movie that says, fuck the way that Hollywood plays. We're going to do what we want to do, and we're going to go ahead and do whatever the hell we want to, and we don't care what anybody says. That's what the Best Picture should be. And I'm sorry, The King's Speech does not deserve this beauty right here, nor does it deserve any other awards. Colin Firth should win an Oscar for a movie where he's actually trying. Yeah, that's my rant on The King's Speech. I hate this movie so much, and I know I'm going to be the one person out there that does not like this movie, but I'm sorry. I can't help it. I hate that this movie has several of these, including the top prize, when there were so many better movies released that year. I'm done. I'm moving on here. So let's go ahead and get back on a much more positive note, because we've got a new Nutcracker movie. Surely there isn't going to be anything too severe or nightmarishly evil about anything that we see in this trailer here, and you know exactly what's about to come if you already know what I'm talking about.
See that city? It's my city. Before the Rat King took it from me.
His kingdom was overthrown. A curse was cast upon him, and he was banished from his world forever.
Merry Christmas, you two. Eat and see.
Until one magical night, he discovered someone who could change everything.
Hello, Mary. You can talk. I've been waiting for someone like you.
I mean, good fucking Lord. This is, consider that the beginning of the nightmare fuel that's in this movie, because holy mother of God, this was bad. Now, as we've seen on this show, it is apparently very, very hard to make a Nutcracker movie that actually isn't a terrible piece of shit. I mean, if Disney can't even make a good Nutcracker movie with Nutcracker in the Four Realms, then you have no reason to make a Nutcracker movie ever again. That's how bad it is. If Disney can't save it, then there's no saving it whatsoever. Like, every studio has tried so hard to try to make a Nutcracker movie work. And it says a lot when the best versions are ones that feature either the Care Bears, Tom and Jerry, or the Macaulay Culkin one where he's not even saying anything, and it's just a Broadway stage production of it, the '93 movie. But this right here, this has to be the absolute worst version you could ever see in your entire life. The story doesn't seem like it's anything that different. It's set in 1920s Vienna and follows a young girl played by Ellie Fanning who receives a magical doll that is revealed to be the prince and embarks on an adventure to save his kingdom from the Rat King. So, okay, it sounds like the story of the Nutcracker, but no, this movie can't do that. We have to be different with this, because not only do we have this in 3D, which means that nightmare fuel is going to be literally coming right at you while you're sitting in this, but they decided to this movie decides to go in the direction of adapting the Tchaikovsky score into lyrical musical numbers, and I kid you not, the artistic direction to allude to World War II and the freaking Holocaust and make the rats reminiscent of Nazis, with John Turturro with this abysmal rat makeup that literally there are times in the movie when he turns into a rat, and that is even more nightmare fueled. Like, what the hell were they thinking when they made this movie? And not only that, this has a $90 million budget on this. They spent $90 million on this. What? Who made this movie? Well, it's Andrei Konchalovsky, who hey, he had a promising start to his career when he made Runaway Train back in the 1980s, and then he followed it up with stuff like Shy People, and then Homer and Eddie, and then Tango and Cash, which that movie was met with its own production problems. But, hey, this has also got songs written by Tim Rice? That Tim Rice? The Tim Rice that wrote songs for Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin and the Lion King? What is happening with this movie? Like, this is a disaster. This is one of the worst things you could possibly imagine. This is, you know, I know, like, I don't like going back to the King's Speech and all that, but the King's Speech, I at least get why people will find that movie appealing. I don't know who the fuck they were thinking that this movie was going to appeal to. And the fact that you spent nearly $100 million on this and thinking that you were going to make this back, I hope they killed everybody who made this, who financed this movie. Like, I hope they literally burned them at the stake like the Salem witch trials. It's just like, no, because you deserve to never, ever say any ideas ever again. Like, this is an abysmal disaster of a film that wastes too many good talents in here. Ellie Fanning, you see Nathan Lane in the trailer, John Turturro, Richard E. Grant. Just, oh my God, this... I'm baffled. I'm absolutely 100% baffled on how this thing became a reality, and how somebody at Freestyle thought, this is a great idea, let's make it, why not? And yeah, then they realized after they saw the movie, oh, now I see why we shouldn't have made this movie. I got nothing else for you. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Avoid this one like the plague. If you even see this in front of you and somebody says, hey, you want to watch this movie? Punch that dude in the face and then grab a flamethrower and burn that disc, because nobody should have to be forced to watch this pile of garbage. This is a bad, bad movie. So, what an eventful week this was. I can tell you that much. Need a drink after that one. Oh, what a week that was. What a way to finish. But